14 devices streaming 4K HDR video off of YouTube through a router system that was sent to me by a company who previously I only knew for their portable DVD player that they don't make anymore, and headphones. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another tech video, and this is not the router system I'm going to be talking about today, but I did want to touch on it briefly because this is Apple's Airport Extreme AC1300 router. This is the last router Apple ever made. From 2013 to 2018 was its lifespan. It has since been discontinued, still supported, but I hadn't upgraded this. This is the last router I have ever used, and for some context, I used to be a network specialist at my job, and I know from my own experience that you want to upgrade a router system every 4 to 5 years depending on the capabilities and your needs, and I'm coming up on 7. So, when Taltronics offered to send me their AC3000 mesh system, 7 years since I've upgraded, how could I possibly say no? Now, a few things to clarify before we get into this video. Taltronics sent me the unit itself, making this video possible, but I did not receive any other monetary compensation. There was no check, there was no sponsorship, there was no anything, just the unit. So that means that I'm going to be reviewing this as if I bought it with my own money. The good, the bad, the love, the hate, all of it is going to get covered. And you're watching it for the first time right alongside them. There was no copy approval. So, with all those things being clarified, let's get into the review. So the review is going to go as such. I'm going to essentially go over each of my experiences with this from the unboxing experience all the way to my final thoughts and give pros and cons along the way. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the first thing that anybody experiences with any new product. This is no exception, the unboxing. So the first thing I noticed with the packaging is that it's, well, packaged very nice. Everything's very well organized, and the power bricks actually have their own individual boxes alongside this Ethernet cord, which I know that it's a network and it should be a given that it comes with an Ethernet cord, but I've yet to find a system that comes with an Ethernet cord this nice. I know it's such a little detail, but I gotta find a way to use this because I love the look. Each mesh unit is individually wrapped, which was very nice, and the foam held them in place very well so they didn't bump against each other and get damaged in transit. And considering I thought these units themselves were going to be a lot bigger, I was expecting like a box double the width of like a HomePod box, but the box itself was very small, so that was extremely nice to find out. The only con I had with the unboxing experience really isn't even a con, it's just something I noticed, especially since I've been unboxing a lot of Apple stuff recently, is Apple's been pushing for a lot of recyclable material in their packaging, pretty much all recyclable packaging with paper and cardboard, and this had a lot of foam and plastics in it. The cardboard itself I did recycle responsibly, but there was still a lot of stuff ending up in the trash. I don't expect one YouTuber to completely influence the way that they're going to do their packaging for the future, but it'd be a nice touch. But once you get this out of the box, you're going to notice the design, and the actual look is very nice. It's a bit wider than my previous Airport Extreme, and it's a lot skinnier, and it's got a little bit of height to it. The height wasn't really the big deal, but the width I was concerned about until I realized that if I just pushed it back a little bit to where I normally have it placed, I had more than enough left to right width to be totally fine. It has an LED ring around the top, which I was gearing up to put as a con until I learned that you can actually turn it off in the app, which is great because one of these is in my bedroom, so I do not want some big LED ring shining all the time, but it does still turn on when you restart it or run an update, which is nice because you can get the indicator light when you need it and not have this obnoxious glowing light when you don't. And overall, the build quality is just nice. I don't know if these feet are actually metal. I don't think they are. They're like a chromed plastic, but it's a nice touch there. It feels very solid. It doesn't feel like anything's creaking or is going to break anytime soon. It's just very nice. And moving around back, you actually have a very nice selection of ports. But before I get to the ports, one of the things I love about this is it has a dedicated on-off switch, something that my Airport system was sorely lacking. If I wanted to power it off entirely, I just had to yank the plug, which, especially on the time capsule with a drive in it, is a huge no-no. And if I wanted to restart the time capsules, you would have to just go into the app and do it. This has a dedicated button. I love it. So whenever I do videos like this where I unplug it from the wall, I can power it down first and not have to worry about things breaking. Moving over from that, you do have 4 Ethernet plugs, 1 WAN plug for your modem on whichever device is going to be connected directly to your modem, and 3 LAN ports, which are just general purpose. You can plug anything into them. And the last port is a USB 3.0 port, which is easily my favorite plug on the back of this because I had a USB 2.0 port on the Airport system, but It was used for printers if the printers didn't have Wi-Fi available, but having a USB 3 port that lets you plug in a hard drive, a full-on external hard drive, is great. That means that you can set up a full network access storage bay without actually needing to set up a network access storage bay. You just plug in an external hard drive, tell it that you want it to be the network drive. This thing takes care of the rest in the app. It's so nice. When it comes to cons, however, the first thing that I actually experienced, and this might be because I moved it around more than most people will for my review purposes and B-roll footage, is the soft touch plastic on the outside. Now, it's a nice look. It's definitely not that glossy reflective plastic that the airports used, except on the top, which is the glossy plastic, which I don't mind. But this soft touch finish is, in my experience, very delicate. This unit actually sits behind that Ruby picture there, and when I was putting it back after I was filming B-roll, I bumped it against the frame, not terribly hard, and it left a mark on the soft touch finish that I haven't been able to sort of rub off. So, in my experience, it is a little more delicate than even the glossy finish that I had on the airport unit. So, if you're not moving routers around a lot, which most people don't, it's not as big of a concern, but if you take these and you move, make sure that when you move, you package these individually very, very carefully. Otherwise, you're going to get these all scuffed up. Another con is the fact that these do have external power supplies. So while I praise the ability to turn them on and off with a switch, not having an internal power supply is kind of a bummer. I never really thought that I was taking that for granted with the airport systems because they just used a standard non-polarized plug straight into the wall, which works really well for me because I do have limited plug space in my apartment. Having these is not ideal. It's the wall wart type that's like the plug directly into the wall, so it's not terrible. It's better than some systems that have like a power brick sitting right in the middle, Belkin, but having an internal power supply in something this big would have been nice. And lastly, I know I just praised the Ethernet ports as well, but there are only 3 of them useful on either of these devices because one of those plugs is only ever going to be a WAN input. If you need more device plugins, you may need to get a switch. Just a heads up, I have all of the ports on my main one fully saturated, and one of the cords is run out to a switch so that I can hook up my other devices. This one on my desk is not so bad, but it's just something worth keeping in mind. Now, once you're done oogling and ogling over the device, we move on to the setup experience, and the pros for this are actually really easy to cover because, well, the setup for this is extremely easy. It's all app-based. The app is easy to get your hands on. It's available on any iOS or Android device, and you just download it and follow the steps. If you know how to read, you know how to set up a router. Like, I don't mean to sound condescending by saying, oh, if you can read, you can set it up, but that's basically how it is. The instructions are very thorough. You even get a quick start guide, which, I mean, honestly, you didn't really even need because once you download the app, that's it. The entire instruction manual they give you for quick start is basically spelled out in the app. And really, the setup itself is very fast. For a lot of first-time users, I could imagine this taking them maybe 15 minutes. For me, somebody who's set up networks before, both my own and other people's, the setup took me about 10 minutes, but this was also with me recording. So I'm sure that for me, I could have had it set up in 5, and then the firmware update that it had to do afterwards only took another 3. So you're talking a total of 8 minutes from out of the box to fully set up for somebody who knows what they're doing, and about 15 for somebody who doesn't. The only con I really had with this whole setup is the phone app, and not the actual usefulness of the phone app, but more of the fact that it is just that, a phone app. And that's unfortunate because I actually do like to occasionally play with router functionality on my computer, and you don't have that. And I even have the M1 Mac, the one that should be able to let you run phone apps in like a little window, and it's not available on the App Store at all, which really sucks. I do like having my airport utilities available on my Mac, my tablet, my phone, all of that, and I don't have that with this. Other than that, the app itself, well, let's talk about the app. The app is sort of its own experience because while it is necessary for the setup, it is also just a joy to use once it's done because you can go in and customize different settings, and you almost want to because it's just so much fun to play with. You actually see every device laid out by name in most cases, and if their names are not there, you can figure out which device it is and customize the names. It tells you how much data is being used per device. It tells you how much data is being used in real time with the actual incoming and outgoing data signals. And overall, it is just a tinkerer's dream. I can play around with so many settings. I can pick which millimeter style I want to use, whether it be 40M or 80M. I know that doesn't mean much for most people, but for tinkerers and people who know about Wi-Fi, that is so cool. And for those of you who are not actually sure what I'm saying right now, that's fine. You don't have to, because this is extremely easy to understand. You don't have to go and play with all of these tinkerer settings like I do. You can go in and do the basics, change the name of your Wi-Fi network, create a guest network. You can even go in and, let's say you've got a family member who's using a lot of data and you're on a limited data plan. You can blacklist them if you wanted to, which is kind of fun. Or you can just prove that they are actually using as much data as they say they are. So overall for the app, I have almost nothing but praise. I say almost because there were two things that I came across that I really do wish that they had, and that's why they're going in cons. The first thing, you do not have frequency or node locking. What that is you don't have the ability to lock certain devices to 5 gigahertz or to 2.4, and you also can't lock them to one node or another. It picks those for you. And normally I wouldn't care, but I have gotten so many notifications in the past few days of my hub going offline for my HomeKit or my Apple TV going offline. And the speed of my Apple TV is so much better when it's connected to the bedroom network, but it keeps wanting to hop over to the node in the office. So I get inconsistent speeds and dropouts while watching shows. It's just, I wish I could just lock it to one or the other. And part of that is also because you can cover, and I'll talk about this more in a minute, but this covers 5,000 square feet. I live in a 690 square foot apartment. They can probably see my apartment glowing from space. But considering I know what would fix it and I can't do that, it would be nice to see. And the last thing is sort of a nitpick, but it's also something that, sticking with that tinkerer's dream side of the app, I wish that they would have added, which is the ability to add custom icons to the devices listed. You do get icons if it knows what the device is. So for my iPhone, for my iPad, my Windows PC, and my Xbox, it will identify them and give me an icon. Though for some reason it seems to want to label my Xbox as an Android device. It's kind of weird. But if it doesn't know my device, like the hub that I have for my Hue lights or my security camera or the switch, it will just give you a question mark. And that is so irritating because you have so many Wi-Fi devices that are just question marks. So maybe in a future update, here's a free idea, Teltronics. You take it and run with it, hopefully. Let the user take a picture of the device that has a question mark and let them set that picture as the icon for their device, or just let them set custom icons in general. That would be extremely nice. I do really wish you could do that because apart from that and the node locking and frequency locking, you have an A+ app. Like, this app would have been S tier if it weren't for specifically the node and frequency locking, because I've been having so many issues with my Apple TV and I know what's causing it, but I can't do anything about it. Otherwise, good job on the app, guys. So now with all of that out of the way, we are ready to use this. And apart from my Apple TV that I mentioned in the app, every single device on my network has been so consistently fast that I honestly thought that my airport system was good until I actually tried this system. Holy cow. So my internet connection is from Antietam, who sucks. I hate them with a burning passion, but they're the only option in this area because, you know, monopolies aren't a thing. But I would always have to shut down most of my devices, or at least just not use them when I would do live streams. And I've actually had several live streams where I've just not been able to keep a constant connection because my Wi-Fi is hopping up and down and having all kinds of issues. But now I know that part of that is to do with my router choice. A little while ago, I did a live stream and I have a starting soon screen that plays, and that starting soon screen is just there for when I'm doing prep, but it also gave me a chance to test the speeds on other devices while one device was hitting the network pretty hard for a live stream. And all the devices I tested, my iPad, my MacBook, my Mac Mini, and my iPhone, all got consistent speeds, and they were the speeds I was supposed to be getting. 100 megabit per second download, 5 megabit per second upload. Exactly what I was paying for. I wouldn't have even been able to dream of doing that on my previous system, so that was extremely impressive. When it comes to the actual connection between the main device and the secondary node, there is almost no latency between the two. Handoff is seamless. I can walk around the entire apartment and not even know that I had been handed off from my bedroom node to the office node. And I can even do things like transferring files from this Mac to my media server. And even though the media server is on one node and this is on another node, the transfer speeds are maybe 10% to 20% slower than Ethernet. And apart from the few times I've unplugged them for B-roll footage, I have never had to actually restart these due to an issue. That is really impressive. I mean, towards the end of my airport's usage, I was restarting them maybe once every month, but these, not once, and I've been pushing these things really, really hard. Now, the reason why I can do this is, well, because of the actual performance. So these are AC3000 systems. These have multi-in, multi-out, which means that it can take multiple device signals in and give multiple device signals back, so you don't have to wait in this digital queue. These also are capable of almost 5,000 square feet of coverage, 2,500 square foot apiece, which means that I can actually go to the end of the street at my complex and not even lose signal. Well, it's not usable signal, but it's still there, which I find hilarious. And that means in the apartment, I mean, gosh, range testing isn't even worth it because I'm basically blanketed in two entire networks that overlap way closer than they should. But with that really awesome blanketed coverage, it does lead to one drawback for my setup specifically, which is that you're covering 690 square feet with 5,000 square feet worth of coverage. So interference and overlap is a big issue. It's the only con that I could think of for this setup, and it's the same one as I had with the app options, which is the overlap in small rooms means that I actually have issues with devices that sit right in the middle of the network system. It kind of sucks, which means I have to figure out exactly what I'm going to do to sort out my Apple TV and my speakers to get them to play nice without dropping signal all the time. The only resolutions I could think of for this are one of two. Either offer us a single pack, because these are $230, so I think a single pack would be an even better value, and for people who need this kind of coverage, they can go with the more expensive 2 or 3 pack, or, like I said in the last portion of the review, just give us the option to lock a device to one node or the other so that the overlap doesn't affect it nearly as dramatically. I don't know if they're going to do either of those. I think that maybe the app option might be more cost effective for them, but who knows, maybe they will make a single pack. But overall, these systems I think are some of the most capable routers on the market at the moment. I didn't even realize Teltronics made routers until they reached out to me. I knew them for the portable DVD player that a buddy of mine used to have and their headphones. So knowing they make these, I'm genuinely impressed, and I think that for my use case, and so long as I can figure out how to make the Apple TV play nice, I am going to continue to use this system because hot damn is it good. But I think I've made you all wait long enough. Let's do what I hinted at the start, which is to load up a 4K HDR YouTube video on every Wi-Fi capable device in my apartment and stream it off this and see if these mesh systems can keep up. So let's get to it. Forgive the mess and the lack of quality here, but this is just to get a point across. So I've got this video of Japan playing on my computer. I've got it playing on my phone. These are all 4K HDR videos, by the way. Same 4K HDR video. Got it over here on the iPad mini. We go over here. We've got it on the 2008 MacBook. We've got it on the 2007 MacBook Pro. I've got it here on the TV being played through the Xbox as well as on the Switch. And if I go and grab the remote here, I can change this over to my Apple TV. And it's playing on the Apple TV as well, both in full 4K HDR. Then if we come back into my room, we will have my poor broken iPad Pro playing it here, my 2008 iMac playing an ad but has the same video queued up, and down here's my favorite. I have 2 old iPod Touches and an iPhone 5S all playing the same video, and you can see it's actually streaming it here. It is actually streaming it. You can see how much has been streamed. And it's loading up here. Got another ad playing, good lord. And then over here we have my PC playing it. So there you have it. 14 devices. 14 devices streaming in 4K or as close as they can get in the case of my older iPods. That, I think, right there sells me on the capabilities of this system. I'm going to retire my airport system. I'm keeping the time capsule, but I'm going to turn off Wi-Fi. It's just going to be a NAS. But this system is my official new Wi-Fi system. Thank you guys for watching so much. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Huge thanks to Tautronics for sending me this unit, but as I said at the start, no compensation was given. These are my thoughts alone. And apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to check out the links in the description, and have a good one.